Okay, I think we're recording. Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
How are you today?
Good. This is so fun to get to chat with you.
I know we were just saying that we have never met before.
I know, and it's
person.
funny. Yeah. You're in St. Louis and I'm in Kansas City, so actually we're pretty close.
Isn't that crazy?
I know.
I know. So first I'll just say, for people who have just started watching or who are just catching this episode, I'm Megan Holmes and I own the Needlepoint Clubhouse here in St. Louis, Missouri, as you just said. And together with my pal Melissa McLeod, who owns The Wool and the Floss outside of Detroit, which is in Grosse Pointe, Michigan, we have been putting together the Pointing It Out podcast. It was sort of born out of desperation for positive things to do during quarantine, but it has turned into sort of a both kind of how-to tips and also just awesome interviews with designers like you. And so we are delighted to welcome today Sara, and I'm going to have you say your last name for me.
Yeah, Trucksess.
Trucksess. That's what I was going to say, but I was like, there's a lot of S's, and I'm going to.
Yeah, there's so many S's.
So Sara, no H, Trucksess with 3 S's.
Yes, exactly.
Got it. And Sara is the inspiration and the artist and the designer for SCT Designs. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that that's probably your initials.
Yes. My monogram. I really liked monogram things, and so this all kind of happened in a whirlwind. And when I needed to think of a name really fast, I was like, monogram. That's it.
Monogramming sounds great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What is it, Reese Witherspoon, that says if it doesn't move, monogram it? So
yeah, I'm with Reese.
I like. Oh, believe me too. As I sit behind my navy gingham.
I know your gingham. It's so cute.
Exactly. So Sara, we know you as SCT. We know you as one of the designers under the KCN designers
umbrella family.
I don't know
whatever
what you want to call it. Yeah, exactly. But I don't know that I particularly know a lot about your background, a lot about the inspiration behind your designs. So the idea is that we will just kind of have a chat about who you are and what brought you to this awesome industry. And so first, start us off with, so you're in Kansas. Have you lived there your whole, or no, are you in Missouri, on the Missouri side?
I am in Kansas, but I am from Missouri.
Okay, very good.
We live 2 blocks from Kansas. I grew up in Missouri, and then we moved to Kansas when we moved back to Kansas City. So yeah, I did grow up here. I went to school here.
Okay. Where did you go did you go to college?
Yes, I went away. I went to Harvard. And then I graduated from there and moved to Washington, D.C., and worked in museums in Washington, D.C. for a few years. And met my husband there. His parents are from here. So then once we got married, we moved back here. And then we have 4 boys, which is
so back up just a second. I want to needle this out. I mean, my puns are just on point, right?
On point.
Yeah. So I want to needle it out a little bit. So you went to Harvard. What was your degree?
French and art history.
Okay. So are you fluent in French?
Yes.
All right.
Paris. And when I worked in the National Gallery, I translated all of the letters from André Kertész, who's a Hungarian photographer, but he lived in Paris, and so he wrote a lot of French letters. So we had a Hungarian translator and a French translator, and we worked together on that catalog. But it's really good knowledge for art history also, because so many things are written in French. And I went to Harvard thinking that I would be a studio art major.
Okay.
But I got really frustrated with my own stuff. And, all the professors are like really famous.
Yeah, it's Harvard. Yes.
I walked in and there's I can't even remember who it was. It was like a super famous modern art it was a drawing class, like an intro to drawing class, but I know he was famous and I cannot remember his name right now. But the assignment was to walk around Cambridge, Massachusetts and collect trash and then turn the trash into drawing. And, I'm in for it. I'm in for all the fun, inspiration and ideas and whatever, but Cambridge is gross. And it's lovely. It's wonderful, but it's not
I hope Harvard isn't listening.
Yeah, no, it's
the Harvard admissions.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful town. But it's very urban and there's
and it's a college town. Let's be honest.
Yeah, there's rats and trash. It's a lot. So anyway, after the collecting trash assignment, I was kind of like, maybe I want to study things that other people painted that I love and do my own stuff on the side. So that's how we ended up at art history, which was wonderful because I ended up, you know, having an internship at Sotheby's, and that is so fun. And you know, it's so different than working in a museum, but like as an intern at Sotheby's, they like hand you a Monet and like hang it on your desk. You're like, enjoy this until we sell it. And I'm thinking, okay, I will.
So tell me this really quick. So you don't just hop into Harvard. So talk about quickly your like high school experience. So were you an artist, or what was your kind of thing in high school? Were you?
Yeah, I don't know why I can speak French so fluently. I was a really good French speaker. I don't know why.
In high school?
Yeah, there's no reason for me to be fluent in French. It's just something that clicks with me.
Okay.
And so I, yes, excelled at French. And we did a lot of like international sort of, we always had somebody from other countries living with us. And we always, you know, just sort of all over the place with that kind of stuff. But my mother is an artist. In fact, my mother used to be a needlepoint designer before I was born. Wow. And my grandmother is an artist, and my great-grandmother was an artist. And I grew up with, you know, even at my high school experience, I had a lot of wonderful art teachers and a lot of classical sort of training. But it's the experiences of traveling with friends who are artists who would come. And even now we travel with friends who are artists, and they take my kids out and teach them, you know, the watercolor basics of plein air painting and just really amazing things.
So would you say that you were a drawer or a painter or a sculptor, or kind of all of the above?
Definitely not a sculptor. I mean, sure. Like I am probably a crafter, to be honest.
So like a 2D, you know, I think there's a difference between artists who can really see 3D and artists who really see two-dimensional and create 3D in 2D, if that, I know I'm not an artist, but I personally, like, I can't knit to save my life because I can't like understand how the sleeve is going to work. I'm like, I like my 2-dimensional up and down, you know, creating on a plane.
Right. No, definitely like painting and drawing. My training is probably mostly in watercolor, but watercolor is frustrating because you can't control it that much. And actually needlepoint is probably the first time I've ever used acrylic paint because it is, you know, sort of more crafty and wonderful, but I just hadn't done it.
Joanna, you and I just quickly, so Joanna from the Plum Stitchery is a dear friend of mine, and she mentions like painterly things. So watercolor would be more painterly, and I think that's very hard for needlepoint. So you really have to be more precise in needlepoint.
Well, I didn't realize like needlepoint is actually so great because I think Tony Randall was talking about this, how the grid makes the pattern happen. And I definitely feel like that. I needlepointed as a child, just a little bit. I remember being kind of like
not into it.
Well, I was into it. I did it. I don't know if I ever finished a whole piece. You know, it was like the 80s and they were big holes and some kind of like, I don't know. But my mother needlepointed, and so I picked it up again later, and there's something about, I was buying blank canvas at a certain point, and I liked the way that the grid gives you the opportunity to make repetitive patterns in a way that, like, if you're doing watercolor, it's really hard to get everything to line up.
There's not a lot of symmetry in watercolor, probably not.
Right. I love the symmetry of it, which I think is so interesting because I have like I always want things in like random groups. I don't like,
like 3s and 5s, for sure. Yes. So let me just back up and make sure we're kind of, you are just so impressive right off the bat.
I'm all over the place.
No, but it's so fascinating. So background is art history. When did you, and you were painting in high school, you were speaking French in high school, but when did you, and you have needlepoint in your life and in your background, when did you decide, or when did you say, because you just mentioned I bought blank canvas, when did you kind of like put paintbrush to needlepoint canvas and say, oh, this is cool?
Early 2019. So it's about 2 years
not
ago.
long.
Not quite. No, like maybe just a little under 2 years ago.
Okay.
So I had a friend who kept telling me, oh, you have to pick up needlepoint again. You have to do it. And I was like, girl, I have 4 kids. I am like, when am I going to do this? But my friend Laura Moore, who owns Moore Stitching,
Sure. Yep.
put out a cute picture of a canvas. And I happened to be going on a child-free trip. And I saw her post, and it had a monogram on it. And I was like, I would stitch that. I would use that. I love that. And it was a good price point. And
yes.
So I just had her print it for me like the night before. I ran into my local shop, had Polly at Casey Needlepoint do like a super fast remind me how to stitch. I hopped on a plane and I started needlepointing, and I loved it. You know, being somebody who has an art background, I was like, I love it. How can I make the next one like more my own?
Yes.
So then I started buying blank canvas, and then people started asking me to like make things up for them. And then those kind of turned into little clutches, like finished clutches that people were buying. And then about the 25th time I walked in to order more blank canvas, Polly and Carol had just started KCN Designers, and they were like, would you do this for us? So that is how that came about.
And it was born.
It's been really good.
So what was your first design that you painted? Do you remember?
Yes, it's that I painted. So in the beginning, I was getting help painting them because I hadn't done it before. The first one that I ever like free stitched and made up was the one that's called the Elizabeth right now. And then the what?
Is it a geometric design? I'm trying to think of which design.
Yeah, it's geometric. There's like some lattice, and there's some we spend a lot of time in
green and blue.
What?
Is it green and blue? Is that the one? I'm just trying to picture.
No, it's different. I'm doing a new colorway on it because I actually didn't pick the colors on that one. But it's actually inspired by, we spend a lot of time in Seaside in Florida, and there's a lot of architecture there that is like a repetitive pattern. So it's inspired by that. I'm trying to think what the first one I actually painted was, and I don't know.
So then how long was it? Because I think a lot of people are fascinated by sort of when the fever pitch hits to where you say, I can't recreate these fast enough. I have to go to a reproduction service. So was it quickly that you said to Polly and Carol, here are some designs, reproduce them? Or were you doing custom pieces for a while?
I did custom pieces for a while. It all kind of happened at once. And I'm not sure, like I was headed toward figuring out what to do with all these things, but Polly and Carol made it really easy. And so from the get-go, they were helping reproduce my things. So the way that I have been able to do it, which I really like, is to make one design and to make that master and share it with them and have someone else reproduce it. Because while I really, really enjoy painting designs and thinking of different things, I don't necessarily enjoy repainting them a lot of times.
As an artist, as a person who is trained as an artist, that's not something that you would do. It's not like you create, the Mona Lisa 4 times. Like you create this masterpiece and then people enjoy it, the same piece on and on, so I can understand that for sure.
Well, yeah. So
so Polly and Carol were really kind of, and again, we're referring to Polly and Carol, the owners of KC Needlepoint and also KCN Designers.
They have both.
Yeah, and so I like to always call them my sister store because they're just across the states.
I mean, Kansas City, St. Louis, we always feel that,
we're pals. But anyway, so they kind of start. So then I'm kind of, I can't remember exactly when I picked up on you as a designer. It was probably via Instagram, maybe by KCN, I'm not sure. But it appears to me that there's a lot of geometrics in your line, which I love, which make great clutches and great inserts. But there's a few things that kind of spring up maybe out of passion or emotion, or like you say, this is out there, and so can you kind of talk about your process or like what inspires you? Or
collaborations recently have been so important to my inspiration. A lot of the patterns, I love pattern, and I love the history of needlepoint and textile design and all that. Like I painted an iCat one recently, and to me it's like, okay, so think about all the wonderful fabrics in the world. You're sitting there with prints that are usually on fabrics. You're sitting there with gingham. Everybody loves an iCat. How can you take that and translate it to a needlepoint canvas? And then you've got a whole new thing a new take on an old fabric because it's got a new texture and it's got new color choices. And I love that it's sort of like a collaborative experience with your stitcher, because cool. I have a lot of trouble choosing colors.
Yeah.
My kids will ask me if I have a favorite color, and I can't make that decision. I like them all. I have favorite color combinations.
Well, I do think that's something that's cool about a lot of your designs is you do have multiple colorways. Like, isn't the gingham with the
I can't decide.
Well, but it's cool, and I think that it's funny because needle pointers are creative, but needle pointers love to have someone else choose colors for them, an artist choose colors for them. So I think what you're experiencing or what you're describing is kind of like you like to work for the stitcher, and the stitchers love you to work for them, if that makes any sense. So it's like you've got, like you've got blue gingham with green and pink, and you've got, and it's very hard, I think, for a person to say, we always say, like, we have a ton of threads, you can just change the colors, and they're like, oh God,
I know.
Yeah. So it's really nice when a designer says, here's a bunch of colorways you can choose from.
Well, so even within all those colorways, I'm like, please choose the shade that you like, because I tried 20 of them and I can't decide, and that's why you have this many.
Because they all look good. No, I agree. So really quick, back up a second to collaboration. So you mentioned that Laura Moore is a friend of yours. I actually had a interaction and a business interaction with Laura early on in her career too. What I love about Laura's work is that it's printed. And so kind of what you said is that it is more affordable because it's printed. And I love what she's doing. I love that she's nimble. I think sometimes it's harder for people if you haven't worked a printed canvas and you've always worked a painted canvas, but
it's a different thing. It's just a completely different product, I feel like.
And so, but I find it interesting that as a stitch painter, you're working with Laura. So let's tease that out a little bit. So what are those designs looking like, and how is that working?
So, it started as a collaboration of just a few things to test, because her canvas was the first thing I ever stitched. And, or as an adult.
Not that 10 count yarn thing you were doing with your mom that you didn't like. Yeah.
I know. And so I think that I've been really interested in printed. A lot of designers, I think, have been interested in printed because we all really do like this industry, and we want to see it be able to open up to more people, and making things affordable is a really good way to make things accessible.
Absolutely.
So Laura was a natural person for me to reach out to when I wanted to try printing. She lives a few blocks away. It's easy to send images to her and print them and test them and see what they look like.
So do you print them, do you paint them on canvas and send her the image of the canvas, or do you print them on paper or like?
She prints them on canvas. So I have been, I bought myself a fancy new iPad for my 40th birthday this summer, and it has been kind of a game changer for art. So a lot of things before that, I'd been doing a lot of sketching and just painting on the canvas and messing around and seeing what happens. But the iPad gives the opportunity to make this complete piece of art in one place that I just email to her, and she prints it and sends me a picture. And
Gotcha.
I mean, it couldn't be easier. And a couple of them we have changed. The little compacts she had started on 13 mesh, I felt like they needed to be on 18 mesh so you didn't lose as much detail. I love those little, like, anything that you can kind of have the whole package of what it's going to be. That's the hardest. As much as I struggle with color, I also struggle with what will we turn this into.
I'm very practical in that way too. I'm giggling because I didn't meet you until today, but if no one has seen, did you put that in your stories?
Oh yeah.
Finishing the compact made me laugh so hard. It's like, I'm just a girl with a glue gun. Don't worry about me.
I glued my hand to it in my tutorial video because that's how professional we are over here.
I love that. But I think what I think so great is that you're just honest, and like we're all just kind of barely making it right now. But anyway, so if you haven't seen Sarah's tutorial on how to put together her compact,
if someone comes up with a better one, I would love it. Because this is not exactly not super professional.
So that was a printed design that Laura did for you on 13, but you are suggesting that maybe you should switch it to and what's cool about that printed design is you can take that image and print it on either and see how it translates. That's a cool.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So it just gives a lot of flexibility, and they really are inexpensive. And so if somebody is not sure that they want to start needle pointing, printed, yes, it's different than stitch painted, but honestly, if you start stitching and the first thing you can do is printed, then you'll be fine with anything you ever pick up.
100%. I think that the people who struggle with printed are those that are really used to reading a canvas that's stitch painted. Yeah. And so I think you're exactly right. It's whatever you're used to. There's no wrong, there's no right. It's just what you're used to.
It's really no different than like something that's not stitch painted.
So are your designs being represented via Laura's line? Because she has her own company, right? More Stitching.
Yes.
If people are looking for your designs, that's where they would go.
Oh, it's complicated, and sure. I need to like bother to get around to making my own website, but I haven't. And I think that because I'm so busy and because I have the 4 kids, and because we're doing homeschool and everything is happening, I sort of put myself into this niche of like surface designer for other people. Great. Which I like because I don't necessarily have time or excel at the business portion of everything. I don't mind doing the social media. I love doing the painting, but it's really nice for me to be able to just like get my ideas out and keep putting ideas out there that and let other people handle the other parts of it. So right now my printed line is with Laura. My wholesale line for shops is with KCN, and then I have a whole bunch of collaborations that are in the works that, you know.
We'll hear more about soon, right?
That what?
I said we'll hear more about soon, right?
Yes, exactly.
So really quick, so speaking of printed though, and I have a whole section on my notepad here of collaborations, because I think the other thing that I read or that I saw is that you have a line through Society 6, is that right?
Oh, yes. I just started that too.
So yeah, and for people who don't know, Society 6 is way, way cool. In fact, well, I'm going to digress and I don't mean to, but I supported some African-American artists through Society 6 when kind of things were blowing up in the world about racial equality. So they're a cool printed, you can get things, you can get tea towels, you can get rugs, you can get very, very cool things by artists who are independent artists. And so my guess is you kind of send them your artwork and then they just print away and give you.
Yeah, the iPad again made that really easy. I have all this surplus of like ideas on the iPad, and I was like, what am I going to do with all these? I'll put them on Society 6, and I'm waiting for a package from Society 6. I had them printed on masks, and I think they're going to be really cute. But they're not here yet. But I learned about Society 6 from my friend Lo Harris, who is another person that I did a collaboration with. And you know, back in June, I was delightfully exposed to more Black artists than I had seen before, which is unfortunate, but you know, I'm thrilled to know everybody. And so Lo and I started an internet relationship, which is mostly just me stalking Lo until she answered and said, yes, I'll collaborate with you.
Hey, listen, whatever it takes, whatever it takes.
I saw her work, it just spoke needlepoint to me, these big blocks of color that you could do stitches in. And so she was really sweet and said, okay, I'll try anything once. And that should be coming with the KCN collection this October. There should be.
True. They were accepting pre-orders. I'm pre-ordered on all of her things. But so did you have to translate Lo's art to needlepoint?
Yes.
So okay, I didn't do that.
I just got on her Instagram and blew her things up, and then I would, you know, put them onto Canvas and send a picture to her and say
for approval.
Yeah, for approval. And sometimes things like the eyes would be different. I would just make sure that she was okay with that. And they don't all work necessarily translated. Right. So that's something even fun and different. That's her work that I'm painting, but that's fun too, you know?
I love that. I didn't realize, I apologize. I'm trying, girl, your collaborations are like kind of trying to like follow, like, so like an ant farm, they're all going all over the place. So I thought I had them all written down, but evidently not.
Oh, no, that's okay. I try to say yes to a lot of things.
I love that. I love that. I love that. So I think we all should probably, well, they always say no to more things, but I think, and that's,
I know, I should do that too.
Well, it's having me time, but I think what you're exhibiting is the opportunity to really grow as a person and a human when you just say yes to more things that are outside of you. So this is very cool. So you've got, I mean, I want to be part of your friend group. You've got all these artist friends, Lo and Laura, and like all these cool people. But another person who a lot of our viewers know as JCB is Janet Flyberg.
Yes.
And Janet, won't sit on this for too long because she's probably a whole episode of her own. She's such
Janet needs to get on here.
She's awesome. But so she's an artist who, I don't know if you met her via Instagram, but you two have a collaboration now, right?
Did not meet her via Instagram. We worked for the same curator at the National Gallery 20 years ago.
No way.
Which we did not realize until we were talking on Instagram like this summer, and she was like, wait, I said, oh, you know my friend so-and-so, and she's like, wait a minute, well, how do you know her? And anyway, we worked for the exact same person. I remember, like, she was there just a little bit before me, and then she worked for a different curator in the same museum. So anyway, we did not know each other well then, but making the connection again on Instagram was really fun.
To say it's a small world is an understatement these days with all the
this has happened a few times with people, and I'm like, oh wait, I went to college with you.
That is neat. So in that collaboration, is Janet doing the artwork or?
Yes. No, so in that one,
I'm thinking of is it the buoys with the rope?
Yeah. So we have, these are just photocopies, but these two that are coming. Okay, so Janet had the buoys, and I was doing like a little let's talk about clutches thing on Instagram, and Janet and I were talking, and I said, you know, it would be so amazing, your buoys on a clutch. And she was like, collaboration right now. And it literally started like that night.
Very
and
cool.
So I just did some sketches on the iPad of like how I would put her buoys together in a clutch, and that is what it looked like. And so I painted the ropes and the background and sort of sampled out like that it would say ahoy and everything. And then I mailed them to her in Maine, and she added her buoys in. And then she shipped, 10 sort of special edition ones that have a little cute keychain zipper from there. But then KCN is going to carry this particular clutch as soon as we get it back from the painting service. And so that will be available for anybody who missed it. It's coming back.
Well, again, I have a couple of orders for those too, and I was trying to figure out who do I call? Where am I going? So you got shop owner friends. You're learning how to get these designed. So, so am I missing anything? I had JCB Moore. You've got your own collection. You've got the collection with, well, I mean, it's not needlepoint, but I still think it's a fair and interesting collaboration with Society 6.
Oh, yeah.
And so there's nothing else public at the moment that you're able to share about your collaborations, or can you?
I mean, I have like teasers of like, I could do like a tiny corner of that. That's coming. Like, that is going to be a really fun collaboration with a shop that I really love. And there's a lot of things. Janet is a genius, and she taught me. So like right now, this will probably be backwards, but I'm working on like some painted phrases. So she taught me to take this and then photocopy it. This is like for me who can never decide on color, to photocopy it and then like figure out what colors do on the photocopy so that you don't ruin the canvas, paint it over it 1,000 times, which is one of my specialties. And she also will like take her shaped ornaments and cut them out and then trace over them on canvas so she knows where to put the shape when she's stitching them. It's genius. I told her that she was going to get the genius shout out because I was so impressed, and it's changed my life.
Okay, I'm putting JCB, add her to the list of people we want to talk to on this is growing. But wow, very cool. So you're will you have some new designs being released at the spring trade show that we're attending?
Yes, and the October one.
Yes.
Yes, I will. So I am constantly painting, and I just kind of think of things that I'll get something it's like a bee in my bonnet, and I just cannot get it out of my head until I paint it. And so for a while, especially during quarantine and all through everything, I was taking stacks, like 10, 15 things a week, and dropping them off at KCN. And now we're just sort of like in this little bit of backup, waiting for the painting services to catch up, which is nice to have the printed and other collaborations in the lull. Mm-hmm. And then, there should be new stuff in October, and then there should be new stuff consistently that just keeps coming out wholesale and other ways.
Awesome. you just said something that led me to think of something else, and then I forgot. You said quarantine. So are you able to be at home and painting, or do you have, this is not a side hustle? This is like your number one gig, you're painting, you're a mom.
Turned out to not be a side hustle because I can't like get it out of my head.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah,
you were working at the museum, and we didn't kind of talk about career in between.
So my oldest kid is 14, and I that was the last time I worked in museums. So it's been a few years, but I had an activewear company with a friend, and we hired women around the world to hand embroider. So this is a different, I feel like textiles have always been in my life. We hired women around the world to hand embroider phrases, kind of like lingua franca, but it was a little bit before that and different, but and paid them, a living wage, hopefully, that would make some difference in their lives to put these phrases on activewear. And so I did that for a while in there. And then I had a surprise fourth kid, so that took some of my time up. And this has been like getting back to doing something real. Not real. I mean, doing something for myself. Actually, this is very much something for me, so that when the kids are on their Zoom calls, or when, I don't want to clean up after them, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to paint, and it's going to be wonderful.
Well, and it sounds like this industry has just been, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but really good for you. Really, the people, and I feel the same way. I had another career, and I got into this industry, and it's such a cool group of people. And
it just fits with everything else in my life so well. And I'm so impressed by the community and how, inclusive it is, and how everybody's really working toward that, and everybody is so creative, and it's just delightful.
I agree. And that's why we're enjoying so much doing this podcast, because there's so many cool people doing so many interesting and unique things that we just don't know about. And so it's just been really fun to get to know everybody.
Yeah.
So on that note, is there anything that I haven't asked you about that you'd love to share with us? Like, did I forget? I mean, we know.
I'm looking around at my disaster here to be like, I don't, probably, but I don't know.
Is that currently your office there that you're sitting in?
Yeah, this is my dining room table. I need a she shed. I've been asking for one. And I haven't gotten one yet. I do have a desk, but I exploded off of my desk, and now we've just like full on taken over the dining room table. So
you are not alone in that. I think we all just like taking whatever space we can. Luckily, I have a shop to retreat to, because I've got kids Zooming and husband working from home. And so
but it is kind of great, actually. The dining room table is like central, so I can like mom and homeschool and do what I need to do and do this at the same time.
Very good. So so you don't have any, you heard it here first. It sounds like everything you've got coming up is kind of a secret. So
you can, there's definitely, I think there's something coming this week. We could do a You Heard It Here First, but this is You Heard It Here First. I haven't done, this will go to wholesale. Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered, in case it's backwards. I was thinking about Halloween, but I'm not, even though my house is like fully decorated in Halloween because my 3-year-old said we had to. I'm not a big Halloween person.
In our front yard, and it's not my first choice. The kids are like, anyway, so I'm with you. Yeah, but so that's great. So that's a Halloween kind of thing.
Well, it could be. I don't know. Put it on a clutch. This is why I can't decide. Like, what should we do with it?
Bewitched, Bothered, and what is it again? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered. It's an old song, but I had somebody, maybe Lysette, put up a picture of Samantha from Bewitched, and then the song got stuck in my head, and then I can't like move forward in my life until I
you just said
out. Yeah.
Well, it feels Bewitched, Bothered, and
like
Bewildered. It's 2020. That's how I feel. Like that.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
You could do 2020 across the bottom. So then quickly, I'm just going to do a little lightning round for you. So, favorite design of yours? Do you have one?
No, I have a lot of things that I like. I do like the Chinese dragon that I did was really fun. And there's a couple versions of that. And there's a lemon on gingham that I like a lot that I put on a big basket that I bought in Seaside. And it's like an added tassel, because I like to add tassels to everything. And it's really cute.
I love that too. We have both the strawberry and the lemon here.
Oh yeah, and I like the
We're
strawberries.
missing, isn't there a green apple too? I think we're missing.
Yeah, there's a green apple and a peach, because it all started with Kiss My Peach. That was like one of the first,
I like it. I like it. We'll leave that right there. So what is your best seller?
This is maybe, I don't always know the answer to these questions because Polly and
deal with the business stuff.
Carol do a lot of it for me. It's always something I don't expect. There's one that's Champagne Wishes and Caviar Dreams, which I think sells really, really well. And it's so funny because it was kind of an afterthought, not really, but like it was one of those things where I was like, oh my God, got stupid Robin Leach stuck in my head and I cannot get this dumb phrase out until I paint it. So I painted it and here we are,
That's great. It's really cute. What about, do you have any idea what your worst seller is, or like the one that sits around that you think, gosh, nobody's buying this. Why don't I see this more? I will tell you that when I asked Rachel Donnelly this, and when I asked, I think it was Joanna, both of them sold their worst sellers. So I should have given you the heads up on this because
they sold their worst sellers.
So in other words, sales went up when they said my worst.
Oh yeah. Well, I think like, so the Elizabeth, which is the one that I said that I stitched first, and I didn't necessarily choose the paint colors for that one, so I'm not sure how well that particular colorway does, but I finally just painted a second colorway in it because I wanted to. So I feel like it changes the entire piece.
I'm sure.
To be in a different colorway.
I'll have to check that out because I don't have it in my head.
I don't know. I think that actually does pretty well too. Don't know the answer.
I was here to say she has an amazing selling line.
Oh, not at all. No.
I'm just
Polly and Carol are so good about handling all that for me that I don't know the answer.
You know, that's good. That's great.
It's probably some obscure dog. I have all these dogs, and like some of them are,
an obscure dog.
Yeah.
The quote from the interview, probably an obscure dog. Okay, so when you stitch, basket weave or fancy stitches?
I don't know that many fancy stitches. I like them, but I sort of like basket weave for durability because I like to do things with these, like take them out on a purse. And wait, I do have, no, I thought I brought a purse that would be like I don't know where it is, but I think basket weave just for longevity's sake because it can't snag. But I do like diagonal mosaic because you can get more stitches done faster.
For sure. And how about threads? So are you a silk girl, a wool girl, a cotton girl?
I'm kind of a weirdo. I'm an everything girl. And I actually don't even mind pattern iron, like the old school. I kind of like it because you can strand it out. And so if I'm on 18, 13, whatever, I can pull out 2 or pull out 1. And I will use literally anything that will fit on my needle. To me, it kind of turns out looking the same in the end. I do like wool better, I think, because it does feel more durable, but I like to buy big like chunks of colors that I like and then work with those instead of buying colors for particular projects.
Gotcha. Well, that's cool.
I don't know. I'm kind of strange in that.
It is okay to be a wool girl. I like it. Is okay. Yeah. We are here to support you. And then lastly, how about mountains or beach?
Oh, both. I grew up going to both, and I have the very nice luxury of being able to go back to both of those places that I grew up going to. And so I could not decide. Has to be
side you like a lot in Florida. Where's your mountainous favorite?
It is outside of Rocky Mountain National Park.
Ooh.
And I do have rounds for both Seaside and I don't want to say, Rocky Mountain National Park. It's not really in the park, but so Colorado and Seaside rounds coming. And, not necessarily travel rounds, just like
you like
images of places I love. Yeah,
I like
spend
it.
A lot of time.
Like well, there's your heard it here first. We're gonna get some some Floridian and some Colorado love. So
yes,
very good. Well, Sarah, it's been a real delight to talk to you. You're just a fascinating human, and we appreciate your time.
I don't know about that, but I think it's really fun, and I think you're so sweet to ask me to do this because, as I said to Janet, it's like I don't know if I'm going to have anything very exciting.
Oh, stop it! Everyone has a story to tell. Everybody.
I really, really love doing this. And I just think the community is so great.
I agree. Well, on that note, thank you for everyone watching. Sara is awesome. Check out her Instagram. Check out our Instagram, Pointing It Out Podcast. I forgot to say at the beginning, we just got to 1,000 followers on YouTube.
Yay. Oh, my kids were excited about this because, you know, they only watch YouTube and they were like, Mom, that's a lot.
Yeah, so you tell them you're gonna have a lot of viewers. So thank you to everyone who subscribed. That helps us to get the word out, and it'll eventually help us to defray some of the costs that we have associated in this. And so we just really appreciate the support and the support of continued support of people like you, Sara. And so we, as usual, this episode drops on Saturday evening. So hopefully everyone had fun watching, and we'll keep on keeping on. Okay. Have a great weekend, great day, and it's beautiful outside. So we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.